Even though I went to university for computer science, I always found myself a bit confused by the term API, as this concept really starts to blend in with the hands-on practice of coding. It wasn't clearly explained to me anywhere. So in this video, I will try to explain this notion to you at 4 different levels of complexity, starting from a 5-year-old all the way to someone who has a somewhat tech-related background.
5-year-old.
Let's say you are a teacher that needs to make a lesson about severe weather phenomena, but you only studied hurricanes and thunderstorms. You don't know anything about tsunamis. There would be the option to go study them yourself, which would take at least a month, or you could just call a friend that knows all about them and would be happy to explain this phenomenon in your lesson himself. Before I get to the next category of complexity, I also have an entire free course hosted on Udemy about APIs. There, I go into much more detail on what is an API and how you can call one yourself using code. So if that sounds interesting, I'll leave a link to it in the description.
15-year-old.
You are building a very important high school project. In order to score the maximum grade, you need to also have a small subsection about a topic you are not really familiar with, and the deadline is tomorrow. Last minute, you remember that your older brother already did this project, and you can reuse his subsection of the project in yours after he agrees.
25-year-old.
Let's say you are coding an application from scratch. The application is meant to systemize the productivity of your users by implementing the Pomodoro technique in their work blocks. You code it up, but you realize that it would be nice to also have the weather displayed in a corner. Just in case it is sunny, their 5-minute break might be taken outside, on their balcony. This would be the case where you would use a weather API. It would return the current weather of your user based on their location and the specific time of day.
Someone who has a somewhat tech-related background.
API stands for Application Programming Interface and represents a set of methods or functions called endpoints that are made available to be requested. You can think of these endpoints as functions or methods that are connected to the web, and you can call them anytime in order to obtain information from them by giving them the right parameters. As you imagine, this is very useful for 2 reasons. Firstly, you skip implementing the entire functionality that you are calling the API for. This approach saves time that can go into developing other features related to your app. And secondly, you are assured that the code of the API you are calling is optimally written and will take the least amount of time possible to execute, making your application smoother and faster to load. If you want to learn more about one of the ways I'm able to generate a few $100 monthly by writing code, you can click on this video.